It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I am David Bosca.
And I'm Neil Cooley.
Man, why does it seem like it's been forever since we've cut a podcast?
Well, July is everybody's ASA state championship, and I try to hit as many of them as I can. So we've been booked up, man.
Yeah, that's no kidding. You've been going one way, I've went another way, and it's just not been an easy get together. Maybe we need to hire some assistants, and they can sit and do this.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, it's been a it's been a heck of a year. Looking forward to being done. We're still waiting on getting still working on getting scores posted and everybody's addresses confirmed for buckles and plaques and payouts and everything like that. So we're not quite done yet, but we're finished, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. We're done, but we're not finished. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's all over but the crying now. We'll have scores posted up on the website as soon as we can and work on getting everybody's payouts. Quick point of clarification on our payouts for state. I think we calculated them at $10 a head. We checked the paperwork. They are actually $15 a head. So if anybody got your checks the day of, get with me and we'll figure out how to either get you a second check or get you paid out. If you haven't got yours, it'll be correct when it goes out. So you're actually going to win more money than you thought, is the good news. Bad news is it's a little bit more work on our end. So no worries. We want to get that right. Full disclaimer for anybody that noticed on theirs, in the hustle and, and all the chaos for awards Sunday, we miscalculated some of those. So I've already talked to everybody at the gun club and they're aware of it. So we're working on getting that remedied at the same time as we're trying to get scores posted. So,
hey, I don't think anybody's going to be upset too much about here's more money.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing. So with everything that went on this weekend, have you been able to stop and just get a decent count of how many shooters ended up filtering through the gun club?
I think the day-by-day breakdown was 72 Friday, 71 Saturday, and 110 Sunday. So right about 253 is what they were calculating up.
Man, to me, that sounds like a huge amount.
Yeah, it was about 31 over what we had last year. So
okay, so yeah, that's paying off then. Well, good. It's got to be me out there on the sign or the road holding up that sign going, shoot, ASA shoot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know Dave's ready for indoor season. I might tend to agree with him at that point. Just it's such a huge event that so many people came together to put on that getting done afterwards is I got home, I took my boots off and I laid on the floor. I couldn't believe it was finally over. But we've still got 2 state championships this week. Both Missouri and Texas have their state championship if you haven't got enough of the heat yet. And then we load up Wednesday night and head out to Cullman, Alabama for the Classic. So couple more last hoorahs for everybody shooting foam, and then a couple of announcements for the fall season. I know everybody's ready for deer hunting or indoor, but you've got 2 OSAA state championships coming up, both of them at Trosper. You've got the state broadhead coming up, I think the 9th and 10th and 11th of August. Let me check my dates real quick, see if I can. We announced it that day because Jeff and Gail had asked us to. I think it's August 9th and 10th for the state broadhead, and then the state 900 should be the 6th and 7th of September. Both of those are OSAA state championships. If anybody wants to get their broadhead set up ready to go early or has a skinny arrow set up for the 900, we'd, I always encourage y'all to support your other state level organizations. Those are going to be big. And then we will, at some point in the next few weeks, be announcing a fall schedule. So 2026 Oklahoma ASA kicks off in the fall this year. That was a new thing from Nationals. They extended that opportunity for all the northern states that don't thaw out from the winter in time to have a full season. So we're going to try to take advantage of that with some of our clubs that didn't get a second date or maybe wanted to get a fall date based on their schedule availability. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. It will count towards 2026 Shooter of the Year. Plan on running the same program, best 6 scores plus state on that one. So you can get a jump on your scores for next year if you know you're going to be busy at any point. So be looking out for that one. I plan to get that announced just as soon as the Classic's over and I get all the paperwork in for that.
That's what I was going to ask you. Now, I mean, you just answered it. I was going to ask, obviously, since your state has come and gone, and that will be for next year, state shooter of the year and qualifications for the state, all that, correct?
Yes. Should count everything for your state qualifications in 2026. It'll be patient with us. It's the first year that we've done it, as well as the first year that Nationals has done it. So for your clubs out there, your paperwork and insurance for this year are good until the end of the calendar year. So if you submitted your insurance and everything, you are green lighted to go all the way through the fall this year. For next year, you do need to redo your insurance. So the season starts early, but your insurance is good through this year. So that's a little bit different. I know we had a similar thing with our deer tags and your tags and licenses being season versus calendar year. So put that out there for clarification on everybody. And then my favorite part of the year is getting new ranges. I think we've had 6, maybe 7 confirmed for next year. So a lot of new ranges popping up for Oklahoma ASA, and that's a great thing because it gives a lot of local people another place to shoot close to home. So if there's any clubs or organizations out there that are interested in getting started in the ASA or interested in hosting one at all, please reach out to me. We're already taking dates for 2026, trying to fill that schedule up as much as possible and accommodate everybody.
Well, before we keep jumping into next year, let's go back to this last weekend. It was a state championship. You had 253 shooters on there. Did that meet the goal that you really wanted? I mean, gosh, that's still a lot of shooters. I've got to fly in here and it's going to win that, or I'm going to walk away. But what was there any great highlights that you wanted to talk about or anything?
Yeah, we had a monster year in Oklahoma. I don't know where it'll put us ranking wise for attendance, but I know we'll be pretty far up the list. Anything that's growth over last year is fantastic, and a lot of them pre-registered. So we had 243 pre-registered and only had about 10 walk-ups. So I like to see people take advantage of that convenience factor. It helps the host club for state out, so we know kind of what to plan for.
Well, when they pre-register, do they even put down the day that they're coming so that gives you an idea?
Yeah, and that's a big split. That's very, very, very convenient. So we know how many volunteers to have at the event. We had a lot more show up Friday than we thought, but I think most of them were coming early for Saturday or Sunday, and that's no problem at all. We just want to make sure and have enough shuttles and water and volunteers and range officials and everything. So we actually did 2 30 target ranges at state this year instead of 1. So it was a lot less crowded. People got to move through the course at a little bit better pace. That was a big thing. And I got to give a big shout out to everybody at the Oklahoma City Gun Club. They absolutely knocked it out of the park this year. Aaron, Mary, Range, Brad, Rob, Kathy, TJ, Megan, everybody at the gun club, they rolled out the red carpet for us this year on a course that had never been shot before. And the B range was pretty stiff, very, very great flow to the event because we got to keep some of our kids and seniors on the A range, which was a lot closer. Had a lot of heat to deal with, and want to take every precaution in the sun and 100-degree weather that we can. So I'll love to see it back at the gun club for 2026. We're waiting on dates. So for everybody that doesn't know, our dates for state are assigned to us from the Western region. So it's not something that we just get to pick when our state is. I would like to see it moved up into cooler weather a little bit just for the heat factor. We did have some people go down with some little bit of heat exhaustion there. So it's definitely a factor that we're considering. You don't want to put it too early because you don't have as much shooting opportunities before the classic and some of these state championships. So there's a downside to too early, but we are looking at other ways to try to beat the heat in July. Like last year, it was 89, 90 degrees at the most. And this year it was 98 with 80% humidity. So
I think it's easthat.
You shoot indoor all year?
Exactly. You knew where I was going to that. Let's go indoors and shoot paper. that would be an air conditioned event. Maybe it won't work for the targets, but I mean, hey, it is an option. So sounds like the gun club did their part. I mean, the pictures I seen, it looked great and phenomenal and all that. What do other clubs need to do to say, hey, I want to put my hat in the ring for that? Is there any criteria that you need to go through to say, hey, you got to have at least this, you got to be able to do 2 ranges, I mean, is there things that you're having to look at to juggle around?
As far as hosting a qualifier or hosting
the championship, because 250 people plus for next year, you got to consider growth again.
It's if you can afford porta potties for the range and you have a building out there that we can get them out of the heat real quick in, any kind of indoor facility works out good, not just because we do awards on site, but just for safety purposes, being able to bring somebody off the range, get them cooled off real quick. If it's something that we've got to have state when it's hot, I want to do everything we can. Like last year, they'd had EMSs on site. A couple of our sons of our hosts had two sons that were both EMT certified and had one on one range and one on the next range.
Very good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We want to take every precaution we can with folks that, people like me, I work at a desk and sit in the air conditioning all day. I'm not built for it. I'm not used to it. So if it's something that you're going to be, out in 100-degree weather for 4, 5, 6 hours, we want to be able to, get you cooled off if we have to in a hurry. But yeah, ranges, I don't see how unless we lose a bunch of numbers, I don't see how we could fit them all on a single 30 target range. Another option would be to say all the classes in list A shoot Saturday, all the classes in list B shoot Sunday. That was a suggestion that had been given to me so that we could peer group everybody in your class to where you don't shoot state on a different day. You're always peer grouped. Your shooter of the year winners get put on the same, or your top 4 or 5 get put together in a group. That's something that I'm kicking around, but I don't think it offers as much flexibility schedule wise. So
yeah, what if someone has to work? I mean, now they're completely out.
Yeah, or if your kid shoots a different day than you have to come both days, or you can't walk with your kid. Yeah, so there's pluses and minuses to it. We're just trying to figure out how to accommodate everybody. But I do like that it would be peer grouped a little bit better that way, so that your group was calling arrows with your competitors, not they were with somebody else, and you don't know if they called them tight or called them loose all day. That would eliminate any kind of competitive inequities.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the weather conditions will be the same for that whole group or that whole class on one day.
Yes.
That I like too. But man, my goodness, what absolutely if you say like, look, the kids have to shoot on Friday, then XYZ has to shoot Saturday. My goodness, what if they got to run into town 3 times, a husband and then a wife and then a kid. Man, I can see that being harsh also. Uh, it, there'd be a lot to weigh out, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of things that went right this year, and heard a lot of good feedback. A lot of things didn't go right. We tried a lot of new things, and a lot of that kind of falls on my shoulders. So for everybody that said, "Hey, thanks, that was awesome," I want you to know there was a lot that I didn't get done that I wanted to. And trying new things, like we had a pro shoot down planned, and the day just kind of ran longer and longer, and Chris Hammond put up a big giant number, and we had said that they're going to shoot 5 targets afterwards right before awards, and I think Chris was far enough ahead that we would have had to either have a shoot off that didn't really matter, or we would have had to start them all over at 0. So we ended up canceling the shoot off as just a heat precaution kind of thing. Big congrats, and thank you to all of our pro. We had, I think, half a dozen pros show up to shoot that, and I appreciate every one of y'all. It's always great seeing, because they just get to shoot a fun round all year at state. So we put some bonus money in the pot and invited all the pros that we could get out, and had a good turnout for the first year. I think next year we're going to get them started a little earlier, and maybe, since they're a fun round, just have them shoot 20, come in, get off the range, get cooled down, and then when everyone else comes off the range, have the shoot down ready to go and not be quite so jumbled up. So for next year, start inviting all the pros you want to see. We're going to have both bonus money in the known and unknown class, and we're going to set them probably on a separate range to where they can get going early and open it up to where if you come shoot on Friday, you want to come back and throw your $100 in the pot, you can be on the stake with some of these known and unknown pros. We're going to peer group them randomly, so you don't know exactly who you're going to be shooting with, and it'd be exhibition style, but $100 in the pot with a little bit of bonus money and a shoot down right after. I think that would be fun for everybody to see. But this year we'd made the call that the scores were just so disproportional that nobody could have caught Chris Hammond. So we said, look, everybody's kind of had enough of the sun and the heat. Let's go ahead and call it. So thanks to Chris Hammond, Ryan Thomason, Scott Hamlin, Scott Langley, Chad Hilburn, all the pros that came out. It was 100%. It was absolute cherry on top of a great year, getting to have them come compete for a significant portion of money. And I've talked to a couple of them since then, and I was like, did the money make it competitive? Did you know that, like, you were shooting for money? Did that, kind of increase the nerves for you? Because that was my biggest thing, is that they can shoot a fun round all day, but you and I know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have the same mental
skin in the game.
Yeah, exactly. You're shooting for some of my money and all your competitors' money. And I think a few of them had said, yeah, I knew that, I was coming out ready to win. And that pot of money definitely upped the nerves just a little bit. So I want to provide an environment that they can come practice for Cullman too, because they're competing at the highest level, and they only get to shoot, like, being a pro, from what I'm told, and this is third party, it's kind of lonely. You don't get to shoot against your class. You don't get to shoot against your buddies. You show up everywhere and shoot a fun round, or you shoot in your own backyard just against yourself. And it's not competitive practice. And I want to be able to give back to the pros, because they do give a whole lot to this state level organization. Those guys they're out there in the trenches all summer with us, but they don't get the opportunity to practice quite so much. Yeah. So
that's cool.
We're going to revise it we're going to revise that for 2026. And I'm going to start announcing and inviting people. I think Nathan Brooks is going to show up. Chris Hacker is going to show up. We're going to have, I'm thinking we're going to have 20 unknown and 20 known pros is what we're hoping for, 20 and 20. And the more of them that show up, the bigger the winning pot is. So for all your pros out there, tag them in the comments below and let them know that next year you're going to have your own range, so you can get through it a little quicker. and we plan on seeing a shoot down. We had the targets all set. We had everything set up for them there, but it was just too much in one day to squeeze it all in. So
They can have a pre-classic warm up.
oh yeah, it's going to be a throwdown. It's going to be,
Yeah.
and if the scores, and I'm putting this out there now, if the scores are too high and low, we're going to reset you at 0 for the shoot down, and top 5 that make the shoot off get to pick. High score gets to pick what target you shoot on. So there's a little bit of strategic advantage for you there, and we'll start you at 0 over your qualifying round, and we'll pay out the top 5. So it won't just be a winner takes all. It'll be anybody that makes the shoot down gets paid out. And we'll hopefully have
something. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And hopefully have some amateurs in there with you that have come shot a second 20 target round, to be able to, get that experience of shooting with the pros. And because I've said it before, the better competition you shoot with, the more you learn. And there's people out there that want to go pro just to be around these guys that compete at a high level, because, it's kind of greatness by osmosis. So 2026, look for a revamped pro shoot off at the state championship. And that's something that we're really looking forward to showcasing these guys, not just local, but from the surrounding states.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. That'd be a fun change. I'm sitting here just running through some of the comments or things that I've seen. What would you like to see changed? Other than the time of the year, you mentioned that you have going to look at that.
We had a lot of people on B range and not as many on A range. So I think if we take a few groups and put them from B range back to A range, that it would be closer to a 50-50 split. Pre-registration was great. Big shout out to Tara Timmerman in Texas. She did all my pre-merged. Everybody's responses got pre-merged and pre-printed. So that sped up registration a lot. Big advantage the morning of, because we had a whole bunch of people there each day. And I liked the Friday option because it let myself and some of the hosts get their rounds in, to be boots on the ground for Saturday and Sunday, your busy days. So
okay,
what would I change besides shooting a nickel on like target 26? Personally, I don't know. We had great support all the way around. Had range officials that were there to, kind of walk with our competitors and check targets and check lanes and everything like that. And we had some of them that were just there to check water. Want to make sure, big thanks to everybody that came out. I think we had 20 or 25 range officials both days. I mean, we had a range official every 4 targets, it seemed like, just making laps, kind of watching some of the groups, making sure nobody was getting overheated. Yeah, I don't know, man. It went good enough that hard to say what I would change besides how long it took and how hot it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's good that there's nothing glaring right at you that you would throw out. Sounds like the website and the pre-registration was a good thing. So, hey, all right, cool. Now, the glaring question, this is the one that's been staring at me in the face since you got started, but then you mentioned your low 5. It got you a nickel there. And it might have something to do with, and everybody that's watching this video will see exactly what I'm talking about. If you'll look over your shoulder at that paper, I see about a 2-inch tear hole in it. That is what we need explained.
I haven't shot my bow through that paper in months. Yeah. I don't know what my tear looks like, honestly, but
it's obviously, we can tell. Look at the paper.
Yeah. Well, that was probably somebody else's.
Here we go.
There's been a lot of bows set up in this little home shop, man. I think there's been 17 or 18 that have run through here. But we've got one now that, big shout out to H&H. They have sponsored our mobile bow shop. So we've got a paper tuner, we've got an arrow saw, we've got a bow press, a draw board, and a vise that we are ready to take to any of these big tournaments. So if you derail a bow, or you have your peep sight slide, or you need to check your timing, or you need to build a dozen arrows before the shoot, H&H has gotten behind us to kind of sponsor what we're trying, because we want to bring the technical tuning parts of archery to outdoor. We shoot our bows outdoor, whether it's field or the 900 or 3D or broadhead, anything like that. And I think that's been a great addition to our archery community, to be able to go help people solve tech problems in the field. And it's just real simple. We could tie a D loop on, we could fix your rest, we can level your third axis on your sight, anything like that. But it saves you from having to run to the outdoor range, to back home, to the bow shop, back to the outdoor range. We just want to bring it all to one place. And H&H has been great. They had an expo in town or this weekend as well, their big expo. So they had a whole bunch of reps that were in town that got to come out. So we had Scott Hamlin with Dart and Conquest Black Eagle come out, set big booths up outside the gun club building. We had Cornerstone Coffee come up to keep us hydrated. There was a ton of vendors and businesses and individuals and cooks and stuff like that came just to see what we're doing at the gun club. They wanted to be a part of it, and I'd encourage a whole bunch of them to come out next year. We'll be hopefully over 250, closer to 300 attendees. And it's going to be, I'm hoping to build it into where it's just like a miniature pro-am.
Cool. Gosh, I'm sitting here rolling anything else, man. You've covered it well. Who was your youngest shooter you had? I mean,
I think we had a bunch of junior eagles. I think we had 6 or 7 in the class that were ages 6 to 8. So
wow.
Yeah, we had a good turnout from them. All the kids. We had kids come down from Kansas, kids come up from Texas. Shout out to Louisiana. They showed up about 20 deep. I think we counted 7 states. So Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. I think that we'd counted up. So we're pulling them from all over. Oklahoma's strategically located in the middle of everything. So big shout out. Kansas, Texas had huge turnouts as well. Our hosts in Missouri came out for their state championship host this coming weekend, came out, and they were awesome guys. They came out and shot Friday, and told them I'm going to try to make it up to Springfield on Saturday if I'm not completely gassed out. So encourage everybody to go hit Texas, go hit Missouri, no matter where you're at in the state this weekend, and show that support that they came down to us, because Oklahoma didn't just set a record. Kansas last weekend set their new attendance record, so Brad Bollinger in Kansas, they came out, and this was fun. We had 2 shoot-offs. We had a tie in Kansas last weekend from a couple of Oklahoma shooters that tied on score and tied on 12 rings. So they came down to Oklahoma for a 1 arrow shoot off on Saturday afternoon. And they both put an arrow about the exact same distance from middle. So it ended up being a 2 arrow shoot off. Took 2 arrows to settle it for our women's known 40 Kansas ASA 2025 champion. That was
wow, held in Oklahoma.
Yep, had brought the grudge match or the rubber match south. So shout out to Amber Jones. And then Sunday we'd had a tie in men's pins 30 between Blake Brown and Jason Tobin. So Blake shot either Friday or Saturday and wasn't there Sunday, and the score table runs over. They're like, we have a tie. And I was like, 12 rings, tie across the board. So I called Blake up, and you can see it at the end of our video. So Blake he was at a birthday party for his brother, loaded up his bow, drove 2 hours south while we were doing awards for a 1 arrow. They both said,
goodness. Congrats. That's awesome.
He and Jason both said, we'll split the money, but I want that buckle. So I said, man, I don't know how to settle this. Can you get here? He goes, I'm on my way. So they came down for another 1 arrow shoot off, which is the way you're supposed to settle it, according to the Western Regional Director, Brad Timmerman. And the cool thing is Nationals knew about it on the Kansas one. He goes, yeah, as long as the Kansas director's there, I'm fine with it. So, we didn't know, like, do we just cut the buckle in half and give them both half of it, or split the money, or what? And they said, well, let's go ahead and have a shoot off. So that was cool for everybody to see. I know we didn't have our pro shoot off, but we did have a shoot off Saturday. to settle Kansas and a shoot off Sunday to settle an Oklahoma class. So
Well, that's awesome.
that was cool. I want to get the women involved. I want to get the Penns 30s guys involved because they probably never had a shoot off with people watching them in the field there. So that was cool to see. I'm glad, shout out to Blake for driving all the way back. Appreciate him. I was like, dude, I don't know if you're ever going to answer my phone call again. He goes, nope, I'm on my way. He showed up in his bow and his jersey. So,
and what's awesome is that Oklahoma, it obviously went to Kansas and stood out. I mean, gosh, when you like that, that just really talks big of what they've practiced and accomplished. Yeah.
And I wanted to plan it that way. It was important to me in making the schedule that I will not host a qualifier on a neighboring state's state championship. To me, that's just something that ought to be off limits.
I agree. I
don't think that's right. They come down and support us all year long and vice versa. And I think that it's just not good taste to do that. So I made sure that on Arkansas and Kansas's weekend before ours, that those are your options to shoot. Go for it. They have 30 targets up there. They've been busting their ass all year in the heat. And I want to see as many Oklahoma, and gave them all a raffle ticket too. Gave everybody that went to Arkansas, no matter where you're from, gave them a raffle ticket. Tried to go out Sunday to Kansas and give them a raffle ticket for shooting that one to come to our state. Cause that's my job is to get the numbers there. So that was huge for Kansas to break. I think they were at 74 last year and they were up to 92. So blew that record. I told Brad up there, I was like, you're going to be at triple digits next year. I don't care if I have to kidnap a horse trailer full of them. We're going to be over 100 in Kansas ASA next year. I guarantee it.
Well, when you go to Cullman for the championship, do all the directors stop and sit down and have a come to Jesus meeting and this is what we got going, or is that later on in the year?
The trend I've noticed in my 2 years is we all get together at Foley and Cullman, and at Foley we say we're going to talk about this and that, and then we run out of time and say we're going to talk about it at Cullman, and then we get together in Cullman at the end of the year and we say, oh, we're going to talk about this and that, and we run out of time and we kick it to Foley. So I don't really know that anything ever gets done. It's kind of just us getting our marching orders from the federation of we're going to change this, we're going to change that. But a lot of those changes we don't get till later. So we don't get dates. We don't get new classes, new rule changes. They do ask for input, but if you get 35 states in one room, everyone's got a different opinion. So I don't know that anything really gets settled there. It's just kind of a, good job, everybody. Numbers look good. We appreciate all of you. Here's some free food. Yeah. Go shoot your second round, and we'll see you in Foley.
Well, the reason I was asking is if any of our Oklahoma shooters had something that is glaring, and we're not talking extra water cans on all the ranges. We're talking about something very legit that needs a rule looked at between now and Cullman. If they would email you, that'd probably be the easiest to get a hold of you because seem like you're on the phone a lot with everybody. But if they would email you, they'd give you something that you could take with you, is where I was going with that.
Yeah. Email's always good. Paper trail's always good. You want there to be records to reflect what's said, because until there's records of it, it's just he said, she said. So, and like last year we had a lot of people fill out our end of year surveys. Yeah. And I remember we did our recap podcast and counted all of them. I didn't get new surveys printed. I used the leftovers from last year. We had 4 responses. So appreciate all 4 of you that, wrote what you liked, what you didn't like, what yes and no on all the questions. I do look at those and, whether it's okay to double book qualifiers and whether it's okay to start at 9 versus 10, that kind of thing. So I look at all those. I encourage everybody to, reach out, make your opinions heard, make your voices heard, try to put the best schedule for next year together. But if we get 6 new clubs, we're going to be double booked every weekend. And the biggest thing that I heard that people liked was when we did the AMAM, we had 2 on the same weekend that were 25 minutes away from each other. And the way Texas does it is they'll book one they'll book one north and south or east and west, far away. And I don't like splitting the group up quite so much. And we're getting enough new clubs pop up that we can do one both in the Northeast or both in the South or both in the West. So it gives you a chance to drive once and shoot twice. And we just got to figure out how to get the most amount of people, because they're going to go to the closest one. They're going to go. If you, like, we had one at Choctaw and we had Borger on top, and we didn't have a huge turnout at Borger because it's so far away.
If you had one at Trosper, the gun club.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. I think, to me, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah. So we're going to find a way this year to come up with ways to incentivize driving once and shooting twice. So when the AMAM happened, we gave $1,000 away. We took the high score from every class that shot both rounds and put them in a drawing for $1,000. Probably not going to be $1,000 on the line every time, but we might find a way to give a target away or give you some raffle tickets for something on the side or this or that. So that's going to be something that we're kind of brainstorming on, but with enough new ranges popping up in every direction, we're going to have a way to incentivize that. And I don't know exactly what the prize or the reward will be yet, but I'm looking at getting some big weekends, because we had 220, 230 cards turned in that weekend. I mean, it was a big draw. We had Kansas, we had Arkansas, we had Missouri show up for that because they were all in the northeast corner of the state. And we're going to look at doing some stuff like that again next year.
Cool.
20 targets is not enough to drive 4 hours for. So if you're going to drive that far, we're going to give you some foam to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a wonderful idea. And I like the idea of them being close, because that's what we used to do years ago, but we did it on our own. I mean, there was always club shoots, and we'd find an area that had 2, maybe 3 club shoots, and we'd be at the first one 7:30 on a Sunday morning and get started and roll through them and get home that night. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big draw that when you give people the and it's a lot of work. And, you know, I gotta give credit to the clubs that are out there setting these ranges. You know, I understand that it's me that's the face of the chaos and the announcing this and that, but credit where credit's due. This organization doesn't thrive without individuals and clubs that are doing the work. So don't think that y'all are forgotten in this, or, you know, it's all just about the state championship turnouts. Like, we had more numbers early in the year that are going to make us one of the largest ASA states in the federation. And I don't just look at it for state championship. Like, our numbers at qualifiers were up all year long. I mean, last year we had one club get over 100. This year, if we look at the numbers, I think we averaged right at or over 100 every weekend. So the state as a whole is growing, not just the state championship. And that's what I want to provide people, opportunity to come compete all year long for Shooter of the Year. That's why it's not just a state championship buckle you're shooting for. You're also shooting for, you know, the season long awards. And I don't think we had very many people win both Shooter of the Year and state, except for my buddy Hunter Hume right there in the barebow division. He came out and put a great first year together. And congrats to all our winners again. I don't know if all of you were there for awards or not, but I'm proud of all of you. And the other states that came by, man, they're fired up about winning an Oklahoma buckle. We had a bunch of them come down from Kansas, Texas. I'm trying to think who won from. I know we had at least one win from Missouri, Arkansas maybe. I'm trying to think. I can't recall all of them, but, you know, I talked to Rick about it, and he doesn't want to go to another state championship and win a buckle off of them because it might be in bad taste. And he asked me, did I qualify for Texas? I need one more practice round before Cullman. I said, oh man, Rick, you're not going to go down there and take a buckle off of them, are you? He goes, well, I usually don't like to, but I need one more practice round to get ready for the classic. So I'm going to go down there and hit it. And I was like, there you go. Now it's, right. You know, now we're fired up about it, because I mean, it's practicing under pressure. You know, it's all on the line, 30 arrows, and you can't win the tournament with one arrow, but you damn sure lose it in one arrow. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think I was 4 targets in last year before I misset my sight and blanked a Wolverine at 40 yards, 39 yards, left the sight at 45 and went right over his back. So,
oh man, I don't know anybody that's ever done that. That sounds crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a thing. It happens, man. But man, it was a great year, and a lot of people came together for supporting us and making sure we got it. I mean, we had not just volunteers, but we had giveaways from everywhere. Big shout out to Miles and Kelly at the Aero Shop. They donated a brand new Bowtech Justice bow to give away at state. We had a Darton of choice from Scott Hamlin, Darton Black Eagle. We had a sequel donated by G2 Outdoors down there, Ryan Thomason. Big shout out to Ryan. Triple C gave away a Darton of choice. Had a young man named Bradley win that. So we had a whole bunch of bow giveaways and a lot of other prizes. Lancaster sent us some gift certificates. Trosper had memberships. It's so nice to see the level of support from all the other organizations. Shot 3DX gave away some shot passes for their 2026 season. So, I mean, Summit Bowstrings, Apollo Bowstrings, everybody that kind of pitched in and came together and said, "Hey, we want to be involved, or we want to be represented." I appreciate every one of you. Brian Thomas was there all 3 days helping work the Genesis, being a range official, selling safari tickets, raffling one of those off. So everybody together put this season to, put it to bed the right way.
Well, I appreciate you putting it together because it gives archery a growth. You may not want me to be chatting and talking about this, but dude, on the outside looking in, Oklahoma ASA was kind of looked at and frowned on for several years from the outside looking in. This is just me talking. I have no affiliations with anybody in the past. I'm just saying, and I've heard a lot of good this year. So congrats to you on pulling it together. Has there been issues? Oh, I think there will always be issues when you put two people together shooting a bow and put stakes at the end. I think there's going to be some feelings hurt and there's going to be something, but that's just the competitive nature that we all have within us. So I think sorting through that is tough, and I appreciate you keeping your cool hat on and fighting the waves as they come through.
It's a labor of love for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
I mean, I go back to my dad told me, everybody out there, you know how your dad will tell you something and you don't listen, but later he ends up being right. Dad's the one that said, "Don't take that job. You're going to absolutely hate archery after a year or two. It's not going to be any fun for you." And, he usually ends up being right most of the time. That's track record when your dad tells you something that you don't listen to. But it's been worth it despite all the ups and downs and the struggles and stuff like that. It's because we had so many signs and banners that we'd had printed that didn't get delivered, and we'd had pro shoot downs that get canceled and bingo ideas that were supposed to happen and didn't happen. And it's all to fundraise for the buckles. And we raise all this money all year and then it's all gone. And then we raise it again next year and it's all gone. And it's exhausting to try to keep up with year after year. But when you see your winners wearing it on the indoor range or wearing it on their quiver next year, it's worth it every time you see it. So cool. As much as my batteries get drained and, I just think that I can't do it. I talked to Chris Hammond last night. He's like, "Oh, so you're not quitting? I thought you were done." I said, "I can't be held accountable for anything I say 2 weeks before state or probably a week after." Like, yeah, I had all of it I could take. But hearing all the positive feedbacks and people say, kind words about not just me, but our host clubs and our season in general. That's why, I didn't get to do this Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, I saw Brad Timmerman do this my first year. And you walk both A range and B range and you go to every single stake and you thank every person for showing up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody knows I cook barbecue. That is huge for me when a contest organizer goes around on Friday and says, just open hearted, going, thank you. It works so much for the overall of their contest, and it makes me want to come back next year. And I know that's what those guys and gals, they've got to appreciate you doing that too, Neil. Good
I
job.
do. And I'd had friends that they really weren't even into shooting this year, and I was like, you got to come to state. You got to be there. You got to be +1. So I really do appreciate even the people
Yeah.
that I dragged out. They hadn't
Yeah.
hadn't shot but one or two all year, and I'm like, you can make one more for me, can't you? And they're like, yeah, I got to twist my arm into it. So it really does mean the world to me,
Good.
because it's not just how our organization is reflected, but for everybody else that gets the, because man, I had 20 guys in 145 or 20 guys in K45, and it means a lot to the people that win, because you got to be there to, if you didn't beat Nickel Neal, are you really the state champion? Like, if I don't shoot my round and you win, I've deprived you of an opportunity to be champion.
Yeah.
Like, I just, so seeing everybody come out all year, looking at the shooter of the year scores, we had people shoot 21, 22 rounds all year. That's 100%. I mean, there's people out there in our shooter of the year categories that you can go look them up on asaoklahoma.com. They shot 21 rounds this year.
That is great.
They hit every single one of them. I just about couldn't get through the kids awards every time. Doesn't matter if it's state level or national level, but seeing the kids battle it out all year, because we had, youth open boys, K40, we had guys that was a dogfight all year long, came down to a tie, broke by 12 ring count. Even
Golly.
even the old men class, senior 45, tied on shooter of the year, and we had to go back and calculate up how many 12s were on each of their 6 rounds that were counted. Not just 12 rings throughout the year, but we had to go back and look at every single qualifier score all year. So, huge shout out to Andrea Waldridge and Mary Loudon for running our score tabulations there. We had a little cube set up where nobody could bother them, and they had those things done by the time everybody got off the range. We had one group of cards left, and as soon as they were entered, we were ready to go writing checks. Okay, let's get started. So the raffle was a lot faster this year than last. Like, we ran them out of the building last year, still giving stuff away. The raffle moved quick. The awards were quick. We did our shooter of the year photos with our podium for each class instead of one after the other. That made it even faster. So then y'all can go check that video out. We put that up on Oklahoma Archery page. So that was fun.
Yeah,
And
because by the end of the day, they're hot, they're tired. And so, yeah, let's hand their awards and let's let them get on the road.
yep.
Yeah.
And the biggest improvement over last year was Dylan Foster taking photos of the podiums, because last year I was going to try to live stream it and my phone had just died and overheated, much like myself. Having Dylan there for some really, really awesome podium photos, it was the absolute best part of the conclusion of the season, because last year that was my thing. I didn't have a photographer for we're sitting there doing this and there's 250 people in the room, but I wanted something to memorialize our champions, our winners, our second and third place finishers. And Dylan came through big. He went and shot his round, took pictures the whole time, and then got off the round and was front and center for taking podium
Very
photos.
good. Yeah.
So big, huge, huge shout out, Dylan Foster. I appreciate that more than you will ever know. Just to get a memorial of everybody there. Because if you're not, if you're standing on top of the podium and nobody sees a picture of it, does it really count? You gotta know. But let me go grab real quick. I've got all our raffle tickets for our safari that Justin Parrish got us donated. So we're gonna draw a safari winner.
Okay.
In Africa real quick. I'm gonna go grab that. You just tread water for me.
Oh my gosh. No one wants to listen to me because all I do is ramble on about indoors. But while he's gone, we will tell the world I may get out and shoot some 3D next year. Listening to everybody over the last few years, I have kind of missed it. So I'm an old man. You can kind of see the gray coming in. Hey, we're done. We're done.
All right. We got, and I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's NZOU, Nzal Hunting Safaris. This is for 100% donation to your fundraiser for hunters, 10 days at a value of $18,000. Daily rate includes all meals, accommodation, local wines, beer, soft drinks, daily laundry, field prep of trophies, professional hunter, hunting vehicles, skinners and trackers, ground transport in between hunting concessions. It's basically everything but your animals and your airplane ticket. So we've had all our tickets in here. If you can hear them all getting.
Yeah, hold them up. That way everybody can see. Yeah.
All right. And your winner is Chris Edwards from
All right.
Prosper Archery.
Congratulations, Chris.
Well, there you go, baby. Chris
Yeah.
Edwards. We'll have to get him the winning ticket so he can go to the Dark Continent and stick a bunch of zoo animals. Big shout out to Chris, him and Simon and Mary. Mary was great this weekend at the registration table. She's a gun club member, stepped in and she's done enough archery events before that kind of be the calm amongst the chaos. But Chris and Simon were huge a year or two ago when I decided to, take this job, that they were like, you can do it. We're behind you. We're going to come back and host ASAs and you'll get it figured out and get it right. So shout out to all my Trosper family. My home range is always going to be Tulsa Archery Association. That's where I'm from, but living 2 hours away from it, Trosper's my home away from home. But yeah, try to thank everybody. Big shout out to Ortco Inc. and the Bentley family this year. They were our title sponsor. Everything great that we were able to accomplish all the buckles, the plaques, the giant, everything that we were able to grow was largely in part to their financial support. So if anybody wants to reach out and say thank you on behalf of the Oklahoma ASA and our 2025 season, Ortco Inc. would be the place to do that at.
We'll put something in the link for them so that they know how to get a hold of them.
100%. Anybody I forgot, I'm still on cloud nine from the whole weekend. I don't mean to leave you out. I know there's people that, had just range officials and shuttle people and everything else like that. You're not forgotten just because I'm very scatterbrained and everything like that. Don't let that go to your, don't take that the wrong way. It's been a very chaotic month putting this all on, but I couldn't be happier for the year that we put on together and looking forward to running it back in 2026.
All right. We always end the show with everybody saying, tell us about your sponsors and where they can find you. Well, let's start with you telling everybody where they can follow the Oklahoma ASA.
So asaoklahoma.com will have any schedule and score announcements, past winners, shooters of the year, that kind of thing. Facebook group, Oklahoma ASA Federation, ASA Federation. It's our Facebook group. We also started a page with the same name. It's got the black and white logo on there. So if y'all want to go follow that, we do have an Instagram account. I don't post as much on there because I don't Instagram very well, but we've got an Instagram account as well to try to, get the online hype up and running. But those are the places really that you can go to find out all about what we're doing and when our next schedule is going to drop. And we'll be looking at releasing the fall schedule real soon. And we'll kind of use that to gauge the numbers on if we want to do that again in the future. But we've got so many clubs stepping up that, they view this as not only a way to come see all their friends and have people enjoy their range, but it's also financial support to them. They got a lot of money wrapped up in targets and they don't get paid for unless we all come put a bunch of holes in them. So y'all keep your bows ready. Look out for our new schedule. You got 2 OSAA dates coming up for the state broadhead and the state 900. And other than that, get ready to go kill big deer in October, man. We'll see y'all at the Classic. We are taking suggestions. My biggest thing that went great this year, not at a state level, but a national level, was our team dinners. Every time I go somewhere to a pro-am, I like to put a dinner together for all the Oklahoma people. And apologies to anybody at Metropolis. We got rained out and left immediately and had some people text like, "Hey, where are you?" And I was like, "Oh man, I forgot to tell y'all I was headed home in a hurry to beat the tornadoes home and the rainstorms." So in Cullman, drop a comment down below where you all want to go gather and eat. We're still going to do that. That was a suggestion from Scott Shields, is we all go to the pro-ams and we never get to see each other except for walking on and off of the ranges. So y'all come drop a comment. Let us know where you want to meet up in Cullman.
Okay. And like we ask everyone, this is the end of the 2025 Oklahoma ASA archery season. List all your sponsors you've had for this year so that they can have one good last thank you very much.
Well, Dart and Black Eagle, Conquest Stabilizers, B3 Archery. That's pretty much who keeps my bow going pretty well. I don't shoot for Hamsky or True Ball or anybody like that. That's just my equipment alone. But people that have supported the Oklahoma ASA, I mean, Oklahoma Roofing Associates, Austin McDowell has been huge for us this year. Everybody that came out and did the team shoots, particularly, David Griffin and Chad Shoemake, because they'd go hit those 14s at the team shoot and they'd turn around and donate their winning money right back to the Buckle Fund. That was huge. Summit Bowstrings has been huge for us. Bryce Talley we've almost got him convinced to move to Oklahoma just because of what we're building up here. He goes, "Man, if y'all weren't so far away, I'd be here every year." Shot 3D Experience, Jeremy, Tim, Brian, all the guys over there, Bobby, Tyler, they were awesome in including us in their events this year to get us in front of some bow hunters that don't know what a competition archery is or looks like, or even if it's fun or they want to do it. That was my biggest win this year, was being able to be included in their events and have qualifiers hosted there. H&H, huge sponsors of everything that we're building, not here just at the podcast, but the ASA. Cooper Heat and Air, Sly Cooper, he's done. I mean, he'd do absolutely anything for you. I know it's his busy season with air conditioners going out all over the state right now. So Sly is still behind the scenes supporting everything that we're doing. So, man, there's just so many of them. G2 donating a bow for us, Miles and Kelly at the Arrow Shop. Everybody on the banner that you see behind the podium photos. But our title sponsor this year was Ortco Inc., and we're hoping that y'all will show that level of support to them. Another guy that we don't really hear enough from, but is always behind the scenes doing stuff, is Mark Tackett with Mark's 3D Targets. We talk about kind of how it ought to be and how things you should do and things you shouldn't do. Mark's been huge. And then Scott Hamlin with Dart and Black Eagle has been he came up, set a booth up, shot the pro division, stayed there all 3 days on top of being, at the H&H Expo this weekend. So he was working double duty just to be on site all weekend. And he's seen what a movement of growth that we have and been behind us 100%. So, everybody out there together, appreciate all of you. It's been a great year. I've been proud to be a state director for you. And if everything goes good, I guess I might be back for 2026. I don't know.
All right. Well, Neil, we appreciate it. Everybody, we appreciate you staying this long listening to us to ramble on. I'm sure we'll try to get a guest here and there and finish out the season before hunting gets started. So that's all I've got. How about you?
That's it, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody.